Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. Let's talk some Candyman. So if you are unaware, Jordan Peele is going to go ahead and produce a new Candyman movie coming out next year, 2020. Unfortunately, the man's not directing it, but he does have a hand in writing the script, so that's got to be some good news right there. The director is Nia DaCosta. She has one movie, Little Woods, which I unfortunately have not seen, so I can't really comment on what the flavor of this movie would be, but we just recently got some more updates on this project that make it sound pretty fascinating. But before going into them, please let me know down below what you think about this Candyman reboot. Are you even excited for it? And what do you think this piece of news could mean for the movie? So just to get you quickly up to speed, I did do a video before talking about the reboot, but that video was not in 4K. I'm not gonna subject you to that 1080p caveman nonsense. No. The movie, even though I'm calling it a reboot, it's considered a spiritual sequel to the very first Candy movie that came out in 1992. We will be going back to the same neighborhood in Chicago where Tony Todd's Candyman was running wild. It was announced that Yahaba Abdul-Mateen, who you might know as playing Black Manta in the Aquaman movie, was cast, and it was pretty much assumed he would be our new Candyman. But the curveball that we recently got is that Tony Todd is returning to the role thanks to Bloody Disgusting, who has the exclusive on it. They're claiming Tony Todd will be in the movie, he'll be having the hook hand, and that really just confused a bunch of us because it was like, we thought we got a new Candyman. Pair that up with the interview I found about the director talking about how there was some misreporting when Yahab was announced as the new Candyman, is that he's not going to be replacing Tony Todd. Her exact words were, well, it's been slightly misreported. I can't say what's happening in the film because we want it to be a surprise, but he's not replacing Tony Todd. That's been reported, and I was just like, I don't know what to say about this. This is not right. No, this might be a little confusing, but what this essentially all comes down to is this movie's gonna have two Candyman, or Candymen, or Candymai? What's the plural? If you're a big Candyman fan, you were kind of scared at the beginning of this movie being in production because Tony Todd was pretty clear that he never got the phone call. He wasn't asked to be in it, but he still praised them and said, you know what, go do what you need to. I would love to be a part of it, but I guess I'm not. And then I guess he finally got that phone call because his mind flipped on the whole project where he was going around saying that there will be applause-worthy moments in this new Candyman movie. Breaking down essentially what this means, though, is if we do have two Candyman, it will be a passing of the torch. I think we will have the original Candyman played by Tony Todd, which I'm so happy he's gonna be included because that man has such a menacing, creepy voice. To just let that go to waste and not bring him back as something iconic that he helped build would just sort of be a disservice to this spiritual sequel. But at the same time, if you look at the Candyman's recent resumes, or I should say Tony Todd, the man hasn't really been showing up in the best projects. A lot of straight-to-DVD horror garbage. I mean, the last real notable thing I remember him is from always popping up in the Final Destination movies, or he just recently had a face-off with Ghostface with a hook hand. That was essentially Candyman versus Ghostface in the Scream Season 3, that horrible season of TV. But getting back to what this basically means for the movie, I mean, if you look at the Candyman character, he is a product of social injustice, or should I say some racism in the world. Because if you haven't seen the movie, basically he was a man who was attacked for falling in love with someone of the opposite race. The father of that person didn't approve, had him lynched, covered in honey, and then was stung to death by bees while they also cut off his hand. This leads me to believe that they're not going to repeat that same story with Yahaba Abdul's character, but instead he might be the victim of another racial injustice, and the torch of the Candyman will be passed on to him, where maybe Tony Todd's character will be showing him the ropes of, you want to scare them this way, when the music flares up, you jump out. We in the business call that a cheap jump scare. And although I'm not always the biggest fan of replacing a horror icon with a lot of personality, no offense to Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, but those are some pretty silent dudes that aren't that hard to replicate, you know, just walk real slow, tilt your head, you pretty much got it down. But to replace a Freddy Krueger or a Tony Todd as Candyman, that takes a lot of bit of work because there is some personality to it. There's the chilling factor. But doing it in this way where it's sort of a James Bond character, or like The Crow, where you just pass it on to another individual after horrible thing keeps happening to this person. Because I mean, the Candyman got his powers somehow, and so that same source of power is most likely passing it on to Yahal Abdul's character. This little twist on the movie and paying respects to the old Candyman just completely makes sense to me and has me more excited to what will happen. Because with all these reboots coming coming out now. I mean, we have The Grudge coming out next year. We just got announced the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We recently had Chucky. All these reboots are pretty different than what we used to know them to be back in the Nightmare on Elm Street days, where it was just essentially the exact same movie, just in modern time. They're really trying different new things to keep it fresh and entertaining. Plus, with the added social commentary of today's standards, where racial injustice is kind of a big thing again, it's kind of the perfect time to bring back Candyman. So what do you guys think about this update of them basically having two Candymans in this new movie? Do you think that could really work out? I can't imagine the dynamic. Will they maybe be against each other? Will Tony Todd's really be like a mentor to this other Candyman? I don't know. I'm just super excited to check this thing out. I have a lot of faith in Jordan Peele, and whatever he's attached to usually turns out pretty good. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know down below what you think. Don't forget to also smash that like button. It really helps out around here. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.